Welcome back to Ruby on Nails. This intro needs to be really fast because my battery is actively dying. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you this nail art tutorial. Focus on the hands. There we are. Oh my god, watching that red light flash is incredibly scary. I don't know what's going on with my makeup right now. I don't want to have to film this later, so let's just jump into the tutorial.
Wow, I'm really so professional with this stuff. Anywho, I'm going to be starting off this tutorial with Besame Cosmetics Smoothing Base Coat because it is surprisingly really nice. Usually when brands are more cosmetic focused instead of nail polish focused, their nail polish can be a little hit or miss, but Besame Cosmetics Smoothing Base Coat is a real win in my books. Because you've seen the thumbnail, you know that this is going to be a lot of gradients, so I'm going to be starting off with the lightest color in my first gradient. Don't worry if it's the lightest color overall. I actually think there's a couple of colors lighter than Pink Fizz, but I'm going to start out with 2 coats of this beautiful baby pink linear holographic polish by Holotaco. And yes, all of the polishes are from Holotaco today, and that is because I have the most of the same formula from them. But I'm also a Simply Simp, so you can do with that information what you like. Once both of those coats are good and dry, we are going to move on to our first gradient, and for that we need some protection. So I'm using protective peel because that latex on my skin just feels oh so good, and I'm not cutting that joke out. For this entire look, I strongly recommend having some form of liquid latex available. I know there are allergies to latex that could make it kind of impossible, but for this particular layering look and all the gradients we're going to be doing on top of one another, having a liquid latex just makes it so much more simple. My first gradient is going to be a combination of Pink Fizz and Hot Wire Pink, and I'm just going to apply that to one corner of my nail so it kind of radiates outwards because our gradient is going to be diagonal throughout. That's going to be like the same thing for every single gradient. It's going to be diagonal, not horizontal, not vertical. We want it to kind of shoot across our nail because that's going to give it that real cool 3D effect later on. After applying some layers of this combination, making sure that our base and foundation is really opaque and good, we're going to remove that protective peel, and then we're going to do some cleanup. But you know what? I have a little surprise for this cleanup because I got the Holotaco cleanup brush in the mail, and I'm in love with this brush. It's a little bit lighter than I would like, but I really like how small the brush is and how firm the bristles are. It makes cleanup really easy, and I can get my nail or cuticle gap super small with this brush. This is in comparison to the smallest KB shimmer brush, which is pretty standard sizing. But I love how itty bitty the Holotaco one is. I've been using a art brush from way back in the day to do some cleanup that's super tiny. It's meant for painting minifigs, but yeah, I like it a lot. So next up, to steal away that next gradient so we can make sure that it doesn't get pulled up when we go and apply nail vinyls, I'm going to put on some super glossy top coat because this stuff dries super fast and it stays in place, which is what we like. Our next gradient is going to be Full Charge and Green Taffy, following the same pattern of lightest towards the center and dark toward the outside. We are once again going to be applying protective peel because we're protecting everything. I did wait about 20 to 30 minutes before I went on to the next step just to make sure everything was good and dry, and that these glorious skinny chevron nail vinyls don't pull up that pretty little pink gradient. I am then going to apply protective peel on top of the space that I want to stay pink. So that's everything towards the inside of my nail. And then I'm going to apply the gradient in the exact same way on the sponge. I'm just going to dab all over that. I'm not too worried about how the colors are being placed. I just want to make sure that a hint of that light green is going to be visible past the chevron. And the reason this is because this is going to have a 3D effect, and that light is going to really balance that dark out so it looks like there are pieces folding on the top of each other. And that's how we get this kind of cool, trippy look. And with that, you've kind of seen the entire tutorial. You just repeat that exact same effect or step over and over and over again, as many times as you want or as few times as you want, until you have the look that you desire. For me, I just wanted to have something that was a little bit on the rainbow side, so I did it a total of 4 times, just so we had a nice kind of rainbow spectrum on each nail, because I thought it looked really nice and kind of reminded me of some graffiti that I have seen around Portland, where this person does geometric shapes using very vivid contrasting colors. Another tip that I think I forgot to mention in the beginning is that one edge of my nail vinyl, or one end of it, is always going to be approximately in the same space, so there's always kind of one epicenter for everything to fan out. So there's one edge that's really close to everything, and then another edge that is far or splayed apart from one another. Okay, so now you know everything to be an expert on this entire 3-dimensional look. There is one thing that I would probably change in the future, or if you're also doing this look, here's something you can change to make this better. Instead of using sparkling water as the light shade of this gradient, I would probably use hydropower and then blue freezy as the dark part of this gradient, because unfortunately, as much of beautiful color sparkling water actually is, it did not create the desired effect that I want. The contrast wasn't as bright and vivid as I was hoping, and it kind of got washed out by that green undertone that you can see there. And I just think that particular area would do so much better with a darker color. And then the last color that I chose was lavender syrup and rainbow flood, and unlike sparkling water, lavender syrup performed really nicely on top of the blue layer, and I was a little worried that it wasn't going to be as opaque as I wanted, but it worked out just perfectly. I also love how rainbow flood kind of was that super dark contrast that this look needed. There was a lot of brights in this nail art, so I wanted something that would really just be like a punch to the face or a punch to your eyeballs when you look at it, because that makes sense in my head. Nail art needs to be violent for some reason. Once you remove all of that protective peel, it's time for your last top coat. And you may be thinking, aren't your nails kind of thick at this point with so many top coats? And you would be correct. My nails are thicky wicky, and I kind of like the extra feeling of security that provides me.
I really like how this look turned out. You can of course do this look with creams, with metallics, you can do it with multi-chromes, you can do it with pretty much any finish of nail polish you want, but I just thought it was interesting to kind of have this like fanned out look overall, if you get my drift. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, and if you like my videos, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next week.